This is the Airspy Discovery on receive. This is the same station on the Kenwood TS520. This, folks, is the venerable TS520, and this is my SDR switch, and this is the art of engineering. Hi folks, and welcome to the art of engineering. For those of you who have been waiting for me to finish my VFO, my digital VFO for the single tube transmitter, CW transmitter, that is certainly on its way, but work is absolutely slamming me at the moment, and the amount of time that I need to sit and think and do the more technical aspects of this hobby are very limited. So I've just decided to try and make myself a little project that can keep me busy and also result in making some equipment I have in the shack usable and of utility. The venerable TS520, love of my life, also nightmare of my life. Lots of videos on the channel, me repairing it when it's burst into flames, replacing and neutralizing final tubes and all that good stuff. I've had an absolute hoot with it, and it is operating. Does it have personality? Most definitely, but it's operating well now and I can get it on the air. But I haven't been using it as much for a couple of reasons. One reason is that it's not a QRP rig, and I tend to operate QRP. But every now and then I bust out and I crank it to 50 or 60 watts and have a crack. But it does not have a pan adapter. And there's times when I like to pretend that I'm living back in the 80s and the 90s and I don't have a pan adapter on my radio. But there's other times where the convenience of a pan adapter is something that I would like to have. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this SDR switch, and there is a video on the channel all about this. And I was using this for a project that I worked on called the loop on the ground antenna. And that's an interesting antenna that's useful for situations where your local noise floor is very, very high. Thankfully, touch wood, up until now, I've had a pretty good noise floor here for a city location. So most of the time, that loop on the ground antenna doesn't get a lot of use. But at the present moment, I would like to use this box on the TS520 and use my Airspy Discovery, which is behind me over here, on the new computer that I managed to get for nothing, which is great. We love getting stuff for nothing. Someone was throwing it away. So I've got a computer that I can utilize for my Airspy Discovery HF, and I will have a pan adapter via use of this and connecting to the push-to-talk on the back of this transceiver, the TS520. So let's have a look at how difficult or how easy that's going to be. Here we have our Kenwood TS520 manual, and it's my understanding that on transmit, this SDR is looking for, via the little push-to-talk jack, is looking for the earth, the relay switching to earth. We've plugged that in, and we were operating this on the little RCA that's on the back of the Hermes light. So I need to find some way of getting the arrangement that is on the back of this TS520. And it's an old tube socket, which is, the way things used to get done back in the day. So it's a little bit strange. Let's get to the page we need, and I'll show you what the push-to-talk arrangement is on this rig. So it doesn't look like it's going to be too difficult. Pin 1 is our earth, and we have a relay connected to pins 3 and 5, and pin 4 is also connected to earth. So between pins 3 and 4 is normally closed in receive and open during transmit. So we are going to want to go between pins 4 and 5. When you hit transmit, the relay will close and you'll be exposing the SDR switch to an earth. And hopefully it will see the transmit. The rig is on. If we are listening over here, you can hear on the continuity tester that I've got going here that those two pins that I've just gone, which are I guess if you look at the top, the right hand side, these two first pins here, that one and that one, are the ones that I'm looking at, which is pins 3 and 4. Slightly different to the diagram, but I think the diagram you're looking from above from the other side. That's what I'm assuming, because that's definitely closed. And when we if we hit transmit, watch what happens. So that's definitely opening when we hit transmit. Let's go over here to these two, and I'm hoping that these two are open, but when I hit transmit, they close. Let's have a look. No. You can see where the my red lid is there. If we go one below, that's normally closed on receive and open on transmit. And if we leave the red in where it is, and we go one above, it's open circuit, but when I hit transmit, the relay's activating. So we found the two pins we need to use to activate our push to talk. That is awesomeness. We've got to find pins that will fit in there nicely, and we'll wire it up. Don't hate on me for FT8. I love having a crack at FT8 when I'm doing other stuff. Obviously, if I'm doing CW, I'm not going to be trying to sort out a push-to-talk arrangement on my beautiful TS520. It's the sort of mode I get to do when I'm a little bit distracted. And so we've just worked Japan, QRP, and that was on, obviously, WSJTX, and I'll swing around. And the Hermes Light. Sunday afternoon, what better way to spend the Sunday afternoon than play some ham radio before the rigors of the work week start. And having a well-stocked junk box is always a good thing too. Now, I could just cut the end off this cable, but I thought it would be nice to be able to use it both on the Hermes Light, should I need it, say for an amplifier, and also on the TS520. Obviously, I could make a dedicated cable for each, but for the moment, I think that's a good plan. And I have to find some way of marrying this to the rig anyway. We've got an RCA type connector here, so the plan is wire up some stiff wire to this that'll poke into the back of those connectors on the back of the TS520, and then I can plug into the RCA, and we should have a system that works. If I want to be really clever about it, I could bring those wires out to the front of the rig, and that way this cable could be easily taken in and out. So we might actually do that. I think that might be a smart move as well, just to make life easier, disconnecting and connecting the cable. Okay, let's get this cord in the back here. This dummy load was given to me by my mate Chris, VK2 and AP. It's got a certain amount of charm, and I'm hoping it works. We shall find out. I think I have had a check of it, make sure that the impedance is right, so I think we're going to be okay. I just had a thought. I've set this up and I'm assuming that the push-to-talk from the TS520 is actually activating the SDR switch. But there's an RF sense in that box. So even if the push-to-talk is not working, the RF sense is going to activate the box anyway. But I would prefer the push-to-talk actually be the activation that's occurring, because if it's a little bit slower or it fails, I'm going to blast my Airspy Discovery and destroy it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the output from the TS520 into a dummy load on the bench here. I'm going to disconnect the push-to-talk on the back of the box, hit transmit, make sure it doesn't activate, and then there's no RF actually going through the box. But in case it's picking up stray RF, I will do a test with the push-to-talk disconnected. Then I will plug the push-to-talk in and key it, and hopefully it's still operating, because the way I've put the leads into the back of this, they may have popped out when I was pushing it into position. We don't know. So we will do that test right now and make sure that it's doing what it's supposed to. So I have taken the connector off the back here of my switch, and that's the rig connector, the transmitter connector. And we've taken that and we've plugged it into our dummy load up here. So when we hit transmit, the meter's giving an indication, and the SDR switch is not reacting, which is what we wanted. So now hopefully when I plug in the push to talk, we will see an activation. So now when I hit transmit, this green light should go off if it's working. Beautiful. So we know for a fact that the TS520 is activating that push to talk line. Hotel 44 Mike Sierra. This is the Victor Kilo 2 Alpha Oscar Echo. Over. Yeah, Romeo, that. Yeah, I haven't been doing a lot of operating, unfortunately. On the work front, things have taken over, and I haven't had time to play radios. But I've just been playing around with an SDR switch here, so I can get a pan adapter on this rig, so I can sort of scan across and see what's going on. Now that was Tony, Victor Kilo 3 Alpha Juliet Mike, and I grabbed him. He was sending a CQ, and I thought it'd be nice to pop in and just say hello. And I ended up signing off because it was a school night, and I told him I need to go to bed because I'm a school teacher. As it turns out, Tony is also a school teacher. So what a coincidence. And that's the TS520. Kilo 5 Tango Radio, Victor Kilo 2 Alpha Oscar Echo, Victor Kilo 2 Alpha Oscar Echo. Victor Kilo 2 Alpha Oscar Echo.
Alpha something Echo?
Echo, Alpha Oscar Echo, over.
Okay, very good. VK2 Alpha Oscar Echo, 59 seconds.
Romeo, that's 5-9 to you, and you are number 1 for me.
How much power are you running? What is your power?
100 watts. 100 watts.
Your radio?
The radio I'm operating is a TS520, TS520 hybrid rig, 100 watts. Over.
Roger. Thank you. George, that's the 05 radio.
There you have it, folks. You probably heard the interference coming from the speaker, the filter. Normally, when I'm operating single sideband, I remember to pull this out and use the speaker in the actual radio. And I reserve this for CW. So bad operating practice. Haven't done it for a little while, but we worked into Texas, which is pretty cool, I think. It is slow Morse night, Tuesday, and just a little bit of encouragement to slow down. Liquid gold. So this is the Airspy Discovery on receive. We'll just mute this up. And this is the same station on the Kenwood TS520. Listening through, this is a video on my channel. It's an operational amplifier audio filter. Well, thank you for sticking around right to the end of the video. As you can see, the TS520, I can still work into the States on it, and it has a hot receiver. Compared to the Airspy, I think a lot of the time we don't have all that fancy noise reduction on it, but gee, it is really a hot receiver, and I'm really, really happy with it. Now, you probably noticed the speaker was causing all sorts of issues. Normally, that external speaker I use for CW, and it's fine, it doesn't cause a problem. But when I'm operating sideband, I've just got to remember to pull the cord out and use the speaker that's in the TS520, which is a great speaker. There's no issue with it, really. I've only got that external speaker because I wanted to do some audio filtering, because unfortunately, I don't have the crystal filters for the TS520. But gee, I just keep my ear to the ground. I'm hoping to land one of those at some point in time. 7-3, and I shall see you in the next episode.